Hey, my name is Layla with godlybusinesswoman.com. Now, I have been doing a series where we look at different women from the Bible to see what we can learn about faith, family, and business. So, in this series, I'm going to talk, or in this video, I should say, I'm going to talk about Lydia, who is found in Acts chapter 16, verses 13 through 15. So, Lydia is considered the very first convert in Europe. Paul was in Philippi, and on the Sabbath day, he went out to the city to the riverside where prayer normally occurred if there weren't enough men to open up a synagogue. There, Paul found some women praying, and one of which was named Lydia, and she was seller of purple. So, this is what the Bible reads. Now, a certain woman named Lydia heard us, and she was a seller of purple from the city of Thyatira, who worshipped God. The Lord opened her heart to heed the things spoken by Paul. And when she and her household were baptized, she begged us, saying, "If you have judged me to be faithful to the Lord, come to my house and stay." So she persuaded us. Now, God uses women in really powerful ways, and He chose a woman to be the first convert in Europe. But not only that, but she also provided her house as a first church in Europe. Since she was a seller of purple and she was also a businesswoman, we can probably conclude that she was wealthy. Because only royalty and the wealthy could afford to use clothes and adorn their homes with fabrics that were colored purple. Now, I love how she worded her persuasive statement. She says, "If you judge me to be faithful to the Lord, come to my house and stay." So, if Paul had declined her invitation, that it would mean that he didn't find her to be faithful to the Lord. But she knew how to get what she wanted. So she was persuasive, she was a bold, and she made such a difference that she's written about in the Bible. So my question now is this: how can you be bold in your business and in life? Have you held yourself back from being open to God's blessings in the area of wealth? Because Lydia was wealthy. She probably had a good sized home and it became a place for people to gather together. You see, when we are open to receiving blessings, it allows us to be in a position to give blessings. And of course, it doesn't mean that it takes a mansion to start a church. You could invite people to your living room, to the space that you have. So it's not to say that we have to be wealthy, but that's why the Bible also says that it's better to give than to receive because it means that you're in a position to be able to give. And she was bold in her ask. She says, so my question to you then is, can you be more bold in your asking for what you want? Now, whether that could be being bold in your questions to the Lord, having faith that, of course, it's His will that He would deliver, that He would give you things, whether it is physical or it could be in terms of health. Now, this isn't to say that God is a genie in a bottle because He's not. And it's not like the new age spirituality where I came from that. And if you ask for it and if you think about it, you're manifesting. I'm not talking about manifesting with God. But I think that sometimes we're not bold in our prayers. Now, I came from a new age world. I came from Buddhism. I came from Hinduism and essentially atheism for most of my life. And I got saved in 2018. And so I would notice that in the new age movement, there were no issues when it came to manifesting things. That's what we were encouraged to do. You manifest things, right? Everything's the power within. So you would do a visualization board or maybe even cast a little spell or um visualize it. Everything was about energy and visualization, and the universe will bring it to you. But then in Christianity, when you come to Christianity, there isn't so much conversation. I mean, then you have like let's say the prosperity churches, and who's to say that there isn't some truth in the fact that God does want us to prosper. But in health, let's say in terms of health and us wanting to be healthy as well. So then I thought, okay, if I could ask essentially demons when I'm praying to not God and I'm asking for things that I want and I could manifest things that I want, why would I expect to have to ask less to my Father who created me, my creator in heaven, who brings us everything. Everything that we receive comes through him. So why wouldn't I be bold in my ask? Why do I think that I need to hold back from asking? Now, the Bible does say that he already knows our needs. He knows that we need clothes. He knows that we need food. So don't worry about those things. So that was a big turning point learning experience for myself. But then he also says to ask. And if you ask, you shall receive. But then that also has to do with your heart posture. If you just want to ask for wealth and material things for selfish reasons, it's probably less likely that you're going to receive those. But if you're asking for things that is going to move God's kingdom forward, then I think that that's a good ask. And then also, I think that God does bless us with things. Let me give you an example. I'm a widow and a single mom with kids. So there's two things that I was very specific in my ask and God blessed me with them. One of them was my car. I was very specific to where I wanted an Alfa Romeo and I wanted it in red. And I was shopping for about 6 months and I looked at different cars and I was like, no, I don't think this car's it. I don't think this car's it. And I kept shopping and kept looking around and I thought, well, maybe sometimes it's to the point where I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna get it. Maybe I should be less specific and look for something else. But then I kept shopping and then I got exactly you can tell when it's yours, it's yours. And that was my red Alfa Romeo. The price point was right. The amount of miles on it was right. Everything was perfect. And I got my red Alfa Romeo. Another example is a house. So I was shopping for a house. At first, I was thinking I was going to go get a house in another state, sort of as a rental property. And I was shopping, and I was so close to closing the deal on this house. But put a prayer, and I said, God, if this house isn't for me, block it. And at the very last minute, right before I mean, we were all ready to sign the paperwork, and I was about to get this house. I got declined. Even though I had already gotten pre-approved for the loan, someone discovered that I couldn't qualify for that loan at the very last minute. The deal fell through. And even my real estate agent and my loan officer were like, let's try again. Let's try again. I said, no. I said, I prayed specifically. If this is not for me, then block it. So I'm taking this as this is answered prayer and God is saying no. So I'm going to stop. I don't want to try again. I don't want to try with a different loan. This is the answer to my prayer. So then I'm continuing. I thought, okay, well, then maybe let me just find a house for myself with my daughters instead of thinking, let me continue renting and then buying a house somewhere else as an investment, which is one type of a financial strategy that some people do. And at first I was leaning that way, even though what I did ended up being better. So now I'm looking for a primary home for my daughters and myself. And I put it out there and I said, I want to live in this city or this city or this city. But I was kind of looking at this city and I said, and I wanted a 4 bedroom, 3 bath home. And so I started shopping around and looking and going to these open houses. And some of these open houses, there were probably like 50 people waiting to look at this house. So I thought, man, it's probably going to be impossible. Just the housing market, every house it was just a very difficult housing market. And I thought, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this house. So I said, okay, instead of 4 bedroom, 3 bath, maybe 3 bath or 3 bedroom, 2 bath, or maybe 2 bedroom, 1 bath, or one. Like, I don't even know. I started reducing my vision and my prayers because it just seems so difficult to achieve. And would you believe that one day I'm looking on this website? I'm already working with realtors and I see this house and I sent it to my realtor. I said, I want to look at that house. And they said, okay, well, we're not available. We just got a couple showings, but maybe in a couple of days, I can definitely go see it with you. And I said, okay, sure, I'll wait for the appointment. But it was just bothering me. It was like, I've got to see this house. I've got to see this house. I've got to see the area. So I came with my daughters and I drove around the neighborhood and the house hadn't been built yet. So there was no house to see, only the models. So I looked around the area and I thought, this is it. Just driving to where my house was. I drove in the night, I drove in the day. And then when I went to see the model home, I thought, okay, this is it. This is where I want to live. And so we put in our bid. And then the model home actually had 4 bedrooms and 2 baths. But once the house was built, right before it was built, they said, and I ended up getting the house, right? So I had to wait for it to be built. And they said, we actually the builder actually changed their mind, and the bottom bathroom, they're going to add a shower. So then it's going to be 3 showers. So then ultimately I ended up getting 4 room, 3 bathrooms. There's 3 toilets and 3 showers. And that could only have been done with God. So one thing that I noticed was, okay, so God does bless us to bless us. Some people might say, what do you need a 4 bedroom, 3 bath for? Well, it's myself, my 2 babies, and then I have an office or a guest room. So this is what I needed. And I don't think that I'm not asking for a mansion, but I'm asking for what I need. There's beautiful amenities that my daughters can go to. I have a space that I can invite our friends to come over for fellowship. So I asked for something. I was very specific. And then I believed and put faith that God would let it happen. If he wanted to let it happen, if he wasn't going to let it happen, then he wouldn't let it happen. So that's how I approach prayer now. And so I would encourage you to be more bold with your ask when you're praying to God, and check your heart posture. So I do tend to check my heart posture. Like, why am I asking for this? Am I asking for this out of selfish reasons, or also, is there any fear in me, which is why I'm asking for something? So I have really worked hard on putting my faith in God and my trust in God, and praying for what I want, and having faith that He's going to deliver that, or maybe not deliver that if it's not meant for me, but deliver something that's better. Because honestly, just just so specific with I love my car. And actually we got in a car accident, my daughters and we spun out, and even the mechanic, or not the mechanic, but I forgot what you call him, the guy that the body shop, even he says, this is a very safe car. And because they had to take it all apart and looking at the structure on the inside. So, I mean, it's an amazing car. It's a safe car. I love it. It's Italian and it's red. And I love my house. I couldn't have picked a better house. It's just everything is perfect. And it's 100% God. But I had to ask for it first. I had to think about it, ask for it. He probably put it in my heart to ask for that. And now I have these blessings. So I pray that you continue. So not only be bold in your ask for God, but if you're running a business, be bold in asking for the close, for asking for the sale, for putting yourself out there and saying, this is what I do, and be open to rejection. Just like when we pray, not all prayers are going to be answered, because they might not be for us, or we might be asking for the wrong reasons. But still, put yourself out there and be able to adjust as you're moving along. So that would be my message to you, to be bold like Lydia, because who knows how you're going to be used, and for what, and what difference in the lives of others that you can potentially make. So, if you want this free PDF of 7 biblical women that we can learn about faith, family, and business, head over to godlybusinesswoman.com. And also, whether you're a new business owner, or you've already been in a business for a bit, but maybe need a little bit of help figuring out your purpose, the ideal client, your messaging, your presentation, check the coaching tab and see some of the courses that I offer that can help you. So I hope to talk to you soon. Bye.